Hi, Sairam to all of you. Sairam. That's better. No, it's late hour. And then Satya said, yes, we're all cleansed up now. Somebody introduced me the other day that I'm homeless. Then somebody else said he's an honorary citizen of Puttaparthi. So I'm somewhere in between, being homeless on one side and an honorary citizen of Puttaparthi. And I don't know what Swami has in store as the next step wherever I go. Essentially, the next hour or so, no? Yeah. I'm going to... why am I here? No? That's the other one, right? Is there a theme for this? What's the theme for this? Manasa Bhajre. Wonderful. Manasa Bhajre. I was born about less than 150 miles from Puttaparthi, and then I was the fifth child, so nobody took it really as anything of importance. And so nobody even bothered to put the date down or anything. So finally, a few years later, when I was ready to go to high school, the clerk and my dad conspired kind of and gave me a date of birth, so I'm old enough to go into school. That's how I ended up with a date of birth. And that's serious. I mean, I'm not unique in it. Pretty much, it's a common story in India. And so then I finished my high school, and my older brother was interested in math, and so I was also interested in math. So he went into math major. So when my dad asked, what are you going to do in college? I said, I'm going to take math major. And he said, no, are you going to take biology? I said, why? He said, we need a doctor in the house. And that's how my fate was sealed. And believe me, I'm never sorry for that. Never ever will be sorry for that. That's how I ended up becoming a doctor. And then, only one thing that I can give a little credit to myself, once I got into medical school, I was always interested in surgery. Always. Then was interested in cardiac surgery. And those days, I'm talking about 1960s, we didn't have many centers that would teach cardiac surgery in India. So I ended up like many other people in the land of opportunity or United States of America. And like Satya was saying, yes, with very hard work and lot of divine grace. We have both of them, just for asking. Lot of hard work and with lot of divine grace, I really became a very successful cardiac surgeon. Held directorships in some very prestigious places. And we had a 7-bedroom house in a 2-acre lot overlooking the entire town. We had about, I don't know, 7 or 8 cars in the house, though I could drive only one at a time. And one day I took a resident and he said, sir, what is this road we are taking? I said, son, it's not a road, it's my driveway. That's what it was. And every Saturday we had, what I should say, resounding parties. That's the only way I could look at it. Men are all one side talking about new cars, and women are all on the other side talking about jewelry and saris. And life was wonderful, really wonderful. Yes, but still I had this hole somewhere in there saying, what's going on, what am I doing, what is it. And when you go to medical school, like when I went, government supported completely. There's no way my parents could have sent me to medical school. I come from a very, very ordinary family. So I thought maybe if I go to Sairam, if I go back to India and give a little back, maybe I'll feel better. So I tried a couple of times, and then cardiac surgery was so commercialized by that time, the corporate world was literally taking advantage of me. And that was really disappointing, very disappointing. So I stopped even going to India. That was, I would say, the worst time in my life. And then you wouldn't believe a series of coincidences. That's what we call, in ordinary term, coincidences. And it's interesting. One day I was walking through the hospital. In the recovery room area, they always write a proverb. And that day I stood, actually frozen, literally frozen, and looked at what they have written. It says, coincidence is a miracle where Almighty is anonymous. That's an Irish proverb of all the things in the world. Coincidence is a miracle where Almighty is anonymous. So this series of coincidences led me to a very big international conference in Hyderabad. That's the capital of Andhra Pradesh. But now we can't say that. Very soon it's going to be very different. So I called them up and said, why, what is going on here? Why are you inviting me for this? They said, no, we want to recognize some of our, NRI physicians. I said, that's good. And then I said, what is an NRI? What is an NRI? Not really Indian. Or no return investment. I like it better. No return investment. I'm sure we're all part of it. So basically, I ended up in Hyderabad. It's a pure cardiologists and cardiac surgeons. And I was told at this time that there's a hospital that does free heart surgery in Puttaparthi. And of course, I didn't believe it. Free heart surgery is pretty much an oxymoron. I've been involved with heart surgery all my life. Nowhere ever anybody tried it, let alone doing it, tried it. So when I went to Hyderabad, I asked a lot of these people who are nothing but cardiologists and cardiac surgeons, and I said, you know anything about this free hospital? Half of them didn't even know. And the other half said, yes, it is there, but I'm sure in a short time it's going to close. I said, what do you mean? Oh, you know how expensive it is to run heart surgery program. It's going to close. I said, oh my goodness, I came all the way and it's going to close. But anyway, and so I had a very good friend in Bangalore, and he said, brother, don't worry, you come to Bangalore and then we'll send you to Puttaparthi. So sure enough, I landed in Bangalore, and then literally he sent me to Puttaparthi, because he's always a very busy guy. And sure enough, all of you know that you have that about 100 miles to drive through. And I have not been in India for a while. And this is an interesting story. This driver of my friend's car, or my friend's driver, he is just amazing, really amazing. The car, and then the way it is going on the wrong side of the road, and as everybody trying to be, it was really just, mind-boggling. So I always tell this that I grew up for 10 years in New York, and this guy could put any a New York cab driver to shame. That's how this guy was driving. Really unbelievable. And one day this guy dies and goes to heaven, right? And so he's at the heaven's gate, and St. Peter asks him, "What have you done all your life?" And he said, "Oh, I have done God's work. I've been a priest." And so St. Peter says, "Okay, just go take this." Shows him a small hut. It's just a small hut. Then, sure enough, another guy comes and he says, "What have you been doing?" "Oh, I have been driving a cab in New York City." So St. Peter says, "Oh, look, there is that nice bungalow, you go there." So the priest gets very upset and says, "St. Peter, this is awful. I've done God's work and you're doing this to me." He says, "Padre, you don't understand. You see, when you were doing God's work, everybody was sleeping. And when this guy was driving, everybody was praying." But there's always a little punchline for Swami's stories. I was in Venice, and they had a public meeting, and always give me a translator. So I told this joke, like I always tell this joke, because this wakes people up, literally wakes people up. But then not many people laughed. Not many people laughed, and I said, maybe the translator made a mistake or whatever it was. So, as usual, after that, we went all sat in lunch, and they're nice Italian devotees. They came and said, "Oh, Dr. Voleti, oh, it was trouble." I said, "What do you mean trouble?" There were a lot of priests in the back. So, you better be careful. See, that's all I can tell. You better be careful. Anyway, so when you go into Puttaparthi, this is another thing I learned very recently. See, Swami, first thing you see is the hospital. What's the second thing you see? University. The third thing is the ashram. So he takes care of your body first, then he takes care of your mind, and you're ready to get your soul, ironed out. And that's how they explained it to me, and it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, I ended up going into the hospital. And sure enough, if you look at it, it doesn't look like any hospital you have ever seen. At least, no, I did not. That's why they call it a temple of healing. I don't know how many of you know that there are two British hospital architects that release a journal every 4 or 5 years. This is Paul Jones and Ken Nooks, hospital architects. In 1994, when they released their journal of top 50 hospitals in the world, the Puttaparthi Hospital was one of them. And I'll tell you that it's not an accident. They said first time since they started doing this, ever they could find a hospital in the developing countries so they could add. Then they said they did it for two reasons. First they said is the philosophy of the holy man. Philosophy of the holy man that health care and education must be free for the entire mankind. That's the first. Then they said, this is the only hospital where there's a perfect fusion, a perfect marriage of form and function. That it looked as good and it functioned as good. So these are the two reasons why they put this hospital as top 50 hospitals. So then one of the junior administrators, he showed me all around the hospital. It's beautiful. I'm sure all of it's beautiful. no clutter, no confusion, absolutely clean. And when they took me to the, cardiac surgery suite, it was beautiful. The equipment was wonderful, what I'm used to in this country, but it was empty. It was empty. So I asked the administrator, what's going on here? He said, sir, the doctors come from Delhi, they operate 2 weeks and they go away. And then they come back again 2 weeks later. I said, why? We're trying to develop permanent staff here. So I said, it's very interesting. That somehow kind of bothered me in the sense. Then another thing wonderful happened. Wherever I looked in the hospital, I saw this picture. And I said, he must be somebody very important in this hospital that I should meet him or something should happen. Otherwise, how am I going to be able to work in this hospital? Then they took me to the ashram. It's very wonderful. It's also quiet. And the food was very good. And I've never been in an ashram in my life. Never been in an ashram in my life. The next day morning, they took me for darshan. And again, I was sitting in the front row. Very front row, with my friend's son next to me. And he says, Uncle, if you sincerely pray, Swami will talk to you. And I said, Srinivas, you're crazy. There are about 5,000-6,000 people here. And if I pray, Swami is going to talk to me? I said, yes, uncle, it has happened before. I didn't ask him how often, but I said, okay, there's nothing I'm going to lose. I pray to Balaji every day. I'll sit there and then pray. So I was sitting there and meditating. And suddenly, you hear this most beautiful music. It's just heavenly, nothing short of it. It's heavenly. And I just, those days men sat where women sit now. Because the roof wasn't there, it's just an open ground. The men sat where women used to sit. So men had the choice or the chance of looking at Swami first. So when the music came, I opened my eyes and looked in that direction, and sure enough, Swami was coming down. First time I ever saw him. It's most remarkable sight. The orange robe kind of flows. You don't see his feet at all. I don't know if he was walking or if he was floating. Seriously. And there is this huge, halo of hair. To me, it was really very, I would say nothing powerful. That's all I could tell. So I closed my eyes. Immediately I closed my eyes. And that's all I could remember. Then, when I opened my eyes and looked up, there was Swami standing right in front of me and looking into my eyes. Of course, once you lock the gaze with Swami, it's never the same. Never the same. And I still don't understand where I had the courage to say, Swami, I am Choudhary, Dr. Choudhary from Los Angeles. And he smiled and said, yes, I know who you are. He says, anyway, I said, okay, maybe he has spies around, I don't know. It's confusing. So I said, then immediately, he went around like this, and out came Vibhuti. Now I know all these things, but so instinctively I put my hand out and he dropped it there. It's all probably not even half a minute. Then before I realized, he was gone. So the darshan is over. And everybody is running, helter-skelter like always is. And suddenly I see a gentleman running towards me, and now I know he's Sevadal. He runs to me and says, Sir, Swami wants to see you. And I said, what a wonderful thing. I also want to, see him. That's why I'm here. So then he takes me, and I follow him. And the next thing I know, I was pushed into this small room, very small room, and then the door is shut tight, really tight. I'm standing there, and right across is this, I would say at that point in my mind, this is a surgeon's mind. A very strange person, the same person. Swami is only 5'3". That's all. 5'3". And he always weighed 108 pounds in his life. 108 pounds. 108 pounds. And he looks at me, perfect Telugu. That's another thing that I have to be thankful to Swami all my life. I am. My mother tongue is also Telugu. He speaks in perfect Telugu. For all you can understand Telugu, he says, "Enti bangaru chikkipoyav." My precious one, how come you lost weight? Hey, what's he talking about? I'm looking at him first time and he says, I'm lost weight. So, what happened is, before this so-called trip of mine, I had a bad tooth abscess. So, I'm the only heart surgeon in that area. So, every dentist wanted to fix it because they don't know when they're going to need my services. That's how it works basically. You're a heart surgeon. Seriously, you're a heart surgeon. It's what's the difference between God and heart surgeons? God never thinks he's a heart surgeon. I hope you got it. So, the temporary filling fell off. Then they said, no, we would put a different filling. That fell off. I ended up with a whole big hole in the tooth. So they said, no, you cannot go anywhere. We have to do that, we have to do this. I said, forget it, I have to go. This trip has been planned. So what they did was, every time I ate, they gave me a syringe and a bent needle and said, you have to irrigate and flush out this stuff. Yuck. That's what it was. So I was eating juices and soups and things like that. Pretty much I'm about the same all my life, 70 kilos. But I did lose good 5-6 kilos, definitely, with that soups and... But if you're my family or somebody working with me, you could tell. But as far as I know, this is the first time I'm saying, Swami, or I thought... And then when he said, how come you lost weight? I just could not comprehend it, really could not comprehend it. Then in the same tone, he said, don't worry, the tooth will be okay. And then I started crying. What does a grown-up man do when he's bowled over like that? So I started crying. And this is one thing with Swami, I'm sure all of you know this, but I'm telling from my perspective, seriously. See, he said, what do you want? What do you want? And this is something, even in the middle of my sleep, I can tell what I want. I said, Swami, I want peace. He smiled and said, oh, very easy, very easy. I said, oh my goodness, wonderful, wonderful, I'm in the right place. He said, take I away. I said, okay. Then he said, take want away. I said, why? He said, what is left behind? I said like an idiot, peace, Swami. You see, very simple. Very simple. I said, Jesus, what's going on here? He's going to give me some holy book or, blow a mantra in my ear or something. And he's saying, so I said, no, it's not going to work out. This is not going to work out. And then I turned my whole plate around. I said, Swami, can I work in your hospital? And immediately, those beautiful smiles. I said, yes. You come anytime you want to come. You can work as long as you want to work. So, more or less, you be careful what you ask God for. I'm stuck there for 20 years now. So be really careful what you ask God for. He said, no, you can work. Then he told me a lot of things that, I'm not even keen on listening those days or even telling you these days. So a conversation became very personal, very personal. And then the way it started, it ended, the door opened, and then I got pushed out. So, you see, first of all, I want to thank all of you. Seriously, I want to thank all of you. Satya, really thank you very much, because, and Ravi, and we started thinking about, combining these two programs a long time ago, and thank you. It's a late hour, but you're all sitting here and listening. So what, I speak about Swami, you can tell now. That's probably the thing I love most now, to talk about Swami. So when I talk about Swami, I strictly restrict myself to what has happened between me and him. Number one, that keeps me out of trouble, completely out of trouble. And number two, other things you can read, Swami is the most written up about person. Swami has talked most. Swami is the most videographed person. So you can see all of that. So a lot of these things that I tell is something that has gone on between me and him. And so that from that day onwards, I managed to form a team, and every year, twice or thrice, we'll go and do service there. And we were all called the team from America. I thought I was going there and doing a unbelievable service, this big time heart surgeon from California. But it didn't take for me too long to realize what a stupid idea there was. It really was. And just to address a little bit this evening, I'll tell a little bit about what I found myself as what I is, what want is, and where it has taken me. The worst thing really we all have is that tag, I. And that's the ego. I think that's what that destroys us, really destroys us. That's what destroys most of the heart surgeons also, because we probably have the most ego. When you hold a patient's heart in your hand, one time in the morning, sometimes one time in the afternoon, sometimes even one time in the evening, just gets to you, really gets to you. And but for me, I always had a little bit of right perspective. Even for my patients, even before I met Swami, I would tell them, listen, I do my best and there's a man upstairs who will take care of you. Or together, me and the man upstairs will try to help you as much as you can. So that I thank my parents, because they always instilled in my mind that there is something beyond. Of course, he told me that it's God, that's a different story. But in the United States, you can't go tell them, God is going to help me and you, because it's a very personal thing. So this I'll tell you how he, what I call it, kind of defragmented me, really defragmented to make me realize who really I should be. And I'll tell you a very, now I can tell very easily, it's probably the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me. You see, when you come from India, especially from South India, most of your education is in English. And so I came from that system, and I thought I spoke perfect English. I thought, and I believed also that I spoke perfect English. So when I started going to Puttaparthi, I couldn't really make sense of what the guy is translating. Seriously, whoever it is, no disrespect. And I said to myself, because I knew Telugu a little bit here and there, I said, if Swami would only ask me to translate, what a wonderful job I will do. So every time I would walk away from one of his discourses very dissatisfied. I could have done that. So one time, there's an anniversary of the super specialty hospital in Puttaparthi. So Swami came. He always comes on anniversaries. So all this stuff is in the central dome. And then everybody started saying Swami speech, Swami speech. Swami looked around and said, there's no translator here. And I started jumping up and down. Swami, jumping. Of course, literally. And he totally ignored. And he took one of the administrators and asked him to translate. The man did a very nice job. But I to myself, if only Swami could have picked me, what a beautiful job I would have done. So it never happened. Couple of years later, January 19th is the anniversary of Whitefield Hospital. And just at that time, I started going to Whitefield Hospital also because they needed my help there. So I was going there. And that year, again, Swami came for the anniversary to the hospital. And there, it's like a big conference room like this. All the staff is there. The whole staff is there. The students and staff. It's jam-packed. So Swami walked into the conference room, and everybody was really thrilled because they could see him. And anytime Swami visits the hospital, it's a wonderful event. And so after all the things, he materialized a few rings for a few people and all. And somewhere somebody started saying, Swami's speech. And again he looked and said, there's no translator here. And then Safaya says, Swami, Choudhary is here, Swami. So Swami looks up and says, what can you translate? And I was sincere. I looked at Swami and I said, Swami, with your grace, I can try. He says, okay, come on over. So the usual thing, they put a nice table with 2 mics for Swami, and then a podium there for me with a microphone. And of course the Swami, was, and I was standing literally like a, Western cowboy, just totally relaxed. And so I was standing very merrily like that. And if you ever remember, you could scratch your memory as much as you can. Swami's speech always starts with a Telugu poem. Always. But not. Really not. That day, he starts with a Sanskrit poem. So he finishes the poem and looks at me and says, Sir, I just looked down and thought the ground will split and I will disappear. What else can you do? You're an idiot in front of all the... at least in Puttaparthi they know who I am. In Whitefield I was very new. I didn't know what to do. Seriously didn't know what to do. For a big-time cardiac surgeon from California. Then Swami started laughing. Everybody laughed. I also laughed. What else would you do? And then exactly the same thing he said in Telugu, and I translated it. And Swami's discourses normally run for about 55, 60 minutes. It goes like a machine gun. Da, 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 da. And you translate it. And after it is done, Swami was telling Mr. Srinivas, hey, Srinivas, Choudhary did a very good job. So make sure I was also hearing that. Next day morning, this is in Ramesh Hall, Swami made sure he came where I was sitting, materialized Vibhuti and said, good job. Now, again, the story doesn't end here. They gave me a tape of this. And Los Angeles is a very big city, for 90 miles. So wherever you want to go, it takes an hour minimum. So one day I was driving and I slipped this tape and I said, let me listen what is this tape is all about. I started listening to it. First of all, I don't think I have written or read Telugu in about 30, 40 years. And very rarely, when there is something urgent and I couldn't tell Swami something, I would write 3 lines. With great difficulty, I would write it and give it to him. And then if you see anybody, Professor Anil Kumar or anybody who translates Swami, they're standing there in attention with a book in their hand, with a pen in their hand, and follow every word that comes out of Swami's mouth. That's how they translate it. And I was standing there, I have no pen, I have no book, and it's all about hospital and about medicine. And I did the whole translation. It's just purely His grace, nothing else. I would have been a total idiot there that day. So, you see, when He teaches you a lesson like that, it is very profound, really very profound. And at the same time, this kind of defragmentation, only, divinity can do that. It doesn't come across, every day. So that is Swami. So this I business slowly started going. And then, of course, this want is always there. And after I started going to Swami, I am very fond of cars. There's no boy here who's not fond of cars anyway, but I'm a little bit more, fond of cars. Like I said, we had about 7 or 8 cars, all kinds. So after I left everything and started working for Swami, first, the day I went in 1994, after 2 weeks, I went to Swami and said, Swami, I want to come and work with you. And Swami said, no, patients are the same. Whether in Los Angeles or here, patients are the same. You work there. And then he said, you have 2 eyes to take care of. That's my son and daughter. So in 2000 May, just 3 days ago, 14 years ago, my daughter got married. Swami's grace, purely Swami's grace. The mandap had Swami's photograph there. So when the guy photographed, the bride and the groom are there, and the Swami was just looking at them. So I took 4 of those pictures, and Swami signed them all. And that Christmas, when I was there, he comes to me and says, sir, you have 1 foot there and 1 foot here. I said, Swami, you are the one who said patients are the same. No, it's time to come. So that's when I decided I'd go back and start working for Swami. That's in 2001, March. So I took early retirement, went back and started working for Swami. I would work for 9 months and he would give me 3 months off. He knows I would not survive there in April, May and June, like now, right now. So that's how I ended up full-time with Swami. Like 9 months in a year is pretty much full-time. After a few months, one day Swami comes and says, how are things? What's going on? I said, Swami, everything is fine, but what's... Swami, I have trouble coming from hospital to the ashram. I have to, get help from people. Oh yeah. You need a car. I said, Swami, should I buy one or what? He says, no, don't buy a car. It's too much trouble. I'll give you a car. I said, oh my goodness, it's very wonderful. Swami is going to give me a car. I waited a month, nothing happened. And again one day, he says, how are things going on, Choudhary? I said, Swami, everything is fine, but I have trouble coming. Oh yes, you need a car. I'll give you a car. I said, okay, Swami, I'll give you a car. And that Wednesday, believe it or not, he comes to me and calls his driver Padmanabhan and says, Padmanabhan, make sure the car is washed, is clean, full of petrol, and give it to the doctor tomorrow morning. And the rumor spread like wildfire. Wherever I turned that evening, sir, Swami is going to give you a car. That red, beautiful car, it's for you only. Everybody, wherever I went. I said, what is... So, next day morning, the bus leaves at 6, but I was there waiting at 5:30. But still, the bus left at 6. So, I go to this Purnachandra Hall. That's where Swami's cars are inside. So, I'm waiting outside there. And leisurely at about 7 o'clock, Padmanabhan comes. I thought he's going to open the garage and show me all of Swami's cars. So he gives me a key and shows this beat up red van there and says, sir, this is for you. I started ranting and raving. Padmanabhan, Swami told me he's giving me a car. This is a van. This is a van. I know these Maruti vans, they don't do any. No, sir, this is your car. Meanwhile, one of Swami's boys who comes behind, he comes and says, sir, if Padmanabhan says, that's your car, that's your car. I said, okay, because we have some of them like that in the hospital, the same Maruti vans, because sometimes people drive it in me. The guy is trying to desperately control how he's going to go, desperately trying to stop it. But the color is different, this is red. So, I haven't driven in India in 30 years. So I sit in the driver's seat and said, Padmanabhan, could you sit next to me? What's this all about? So he sits next to me. So I crank it up and it starts right away. And then, at least I still remember rudimentarily about gear 1 and 2. So we were going slowly and Padmanabhan does the worst thing he could ever do. He looks at me and says, sir, what kind of a car do you drive in United States? I said, Padmanabhan, you really want to know? It's a 55 ml Mercedes-Benz, 8 cylinders, 365 horsepower. It goes from 0 to 60 miles in 6.5 seconds. It's green color, brand new. The guy was going, what did I do? What did I do? So we go about a block and a half and he suddenly says, sir, Swami may come anytime, I have to go back. So he just, that's for my information. So he opens and goes away. So somehow slowly I manage, and it's in his driving. I managed to go to the Vinayaka temple, park there, and was fuming. So I go and sit where my assigned seat is. It so happens where my assigned seat is, there's nobody on the other side. And those days Swami came in a golf cart. So he has no choice. He has to look at me. Because he has to look at me and I'm sitting there and says, Swami, please come. And sure enough, he comes for darshan and he keeps looking at the other side all the way. And then I had no choice except, I said, morning is gone, evening is there. So I go and I drive and it drives beautifully. Really, seriously, it drives very well. First time I'm driving, it does. So I park it in the hospital, I was just coming out. And one of the hospital driver comes and says, sir, you're driving 1008? I said, what is it you anyway? No, we asked for this, urology professor. Swami wouldn't give it. Maybe he didn't give it. So then when I went upstairs, we have a perfusionist. He's a very long time Swami's student. He even sleeps at night time in Yajur Mandir. He came to me and smiling says, sir, you got the 1008? I said, what is there? Oh, it's just a van. And Swami said, he'll give me a car. He said, sir, you're wrong. Radha Krishna used to drive that. And that's one of the very first vans Maruti made special, and they sent it for Swami. And you better be thankful and tell Swami thank you. I said, what is this guy talking about? And then rest of the day, it slowly dawned on me, and I said, yes, that's what it is. So that evening, I sat there, wrote a nice note thanking Swami. As soon as he comes, he stays his hand. And I said, Swami, thank you very much for giving me this, car. So it goes by, then it's time for me to come back to United States, and he says, how are things? Swami, everything is good, but the van, there's no air conditioning, Swami. He says, what kind? You can't put AC in that van? I said, no, Swami. Okay, I'll give you a car. I said, okay, there it goes again. So, no, seriously, next time, so I returned the van. When I came back, again the story started. Oh, you need a car, you need a car. And finally one day he comes and says, yes, the car is in Bangalore. And I said, what car could be in Bangalore anyway? Sure enough, next week, again he calls Padmanabhan. He says, Padmanabhan, make sure Choudhary gets the car, make sure it is washed, it's full of petrol. And so this time I wasn't too thrilled, so I was just waiting there. And sure enough, Padmanabhan comes, opens the door, garage door, shows me all of Swami's cars, takes me to this beautiful Zen, a red color Zen. It is air conditioned. It's a very sporty car. It's nice to drive around, very nice to drive around. And then the rumors were floating, oh, Dr. Choudhary got the Zen, got the Zen, got. So anyway, so that is air conditioned, it's nice, it's very good. Then I started going up and down to Whitefield. So one day Swami came and said, what's going on? How are things? I said, Swami, everything is good. But you know, I'm going a lot of times to Whitefield, Swami, but the Zen is a little car. Yes, yes, you need a big car. And then, but just about a few weeks ago, you know, I had a house, my brother built a house for me in Chennai. And I was tired of the house, really was tired of the house. And I told my brother to sell it, but before I checked, Swami, can I sell the house in Chennai? Yes, yes, go ahead, sell it. And of course, when I came back, I said, Swami, the house got sold. You know what his first question was? How much did you sell it for? So they always, you know, in India, transactions are never clear. You never know what he's asking, what you're asking, what you get, what is it. There are always 2 figures or 3 figures. Anyway, I, you know, mumbled something, and of course, Swami knows what has happened. So he knows. So then he said, yes, yes, you need a big car. And I said, Swami, is it your decision or my decision, what I'm going to buy? He said, no, 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 no. You buy whatever you want to buy, it's going to be okay. Of course, he knows I have this money in the bank account. So I ended up buying a nice big SUV. And then I got it. It was wonderful. But then my idea was that it should be blessed by Swami. So I got the car on Thursday. After all of, that's another long story anyway. And then I drove it down and I said, Swami, Swami, can you bless the car? Oh yes, no problem, bless the car. And that's the weekend. Bring Sunday, I'll bless the car. So Sunday morning, I don't know what is going to happen, what to bless and all. Again, I went to Padmanabhan and said, Padmanabhan, Swami said he's going to bless the car, what should I do? So I said, don't worry, bring the car in the morning. So I took it there, he washed it beautifully, and then put a lot of garlands on it, and then put this kumkum and all of that, and had a nice plate with some coconuts in it and lemons in it. And I was waiting, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, nothing happened. He never showed up. Poor Chakravarti saw me and he said, Doctor, he's not coming, come in the afternoon. I said, okay, sir. So then Padmanabhan was very nice. Sir, leave the car here and I'll drop you off. So he put the garlands all in a refrigerator, and again at 3 o'clock the same started happening, waiting. And I didn't know what, I know 4:30 to 6 is Rahu Kolam on Sunday, so Swami would never do anything between that. At about 4 o'clock, the sun is beating down, you know, it's September, and suddenly the word comes to me and says, yes, Swami is coming out, he's going to see your car. So there is a Sarvadharma, you know, pillar in the next to the New Yajur Mandir. So I drive the car there, and the sun is beating down, and I said, and that's the door where Swami has to come out. And believe it or not, in 5 minutes it gets totally cloudy, nice and cool. And the door opens, and Swami is there in his chair. So I literally ran to him and gave him the keys. So he started playing with the keys, and Satyajit is always, Swami, with this key, Swami, you can open and close the car from here, Swami. So as if Swami doesn't know that. Anyway, so then he asked me to drive it around the Sarvadharma, pillar. And I was ready to go. He said, stop. I said, what did I do wrong now? Then he said, no, you broke coconuts only in the front. Padmanabhan, you have to break coconuts in the back also. So they broke coconuts in the back. Then we had the lemons and all. So we drove around. So that's how I ended up getting a big SUV. See, if I got an SUV the day I wanted a car, there would never have been any learning curve at all. So this, again, I don't know how you look at all these things. This, want. So what I have learned now, seriously, from this all around, you differentiate between need and want. We all want things. Do we really need it? And seriously, I stick to it. I really stick to it. If I need it only. See, I travel a lot. I really travel a lot. One time I was in Brazil, and a retreat like this. The other speaker, I don't know any of you know him, he's called Professor Homogeneous. He's a very, very staunch devotee of Swami and gives beautiful lectures. So they always give me a translator. So he was telling a beautiful story about a very poor farmer in the northern part of Brazil. Brazil is like literally two countries. The south is industrialized, very wealthy also. North is really poor. So one day, this poor farmer wakes up and sees a genie in front of him. And so genie says, I'm here to give you 3 wishes. You can ask anything you want to ask. The farmer says, for first wish, I want a piece of fresh cheese. She says, okay, anyway, whatever he wants, I have to give. So he gives him a fresh cheese. Then he says, what's your second wish? He says, I want a very beautiful woman. And genie thinks, okay, the guy is waking up, maybe it's fine, so makes him a beautiful woman. And then she says, what will be your third wish? He scratches his head a little bit and says, I want another piece of fresh cheese. So she says she has to do, so she makes another piece of fresh cheese and gives it to the guy. And then says, what kind of a guy are you? I could have given you anything. And the farmer looks at genie and says, no, you don't understand. All my life, I wanted to eat fresh cheese. Actually, I was going to ask you for 3 pieces of fresh cheese. I thought you'll think I'm crazy, so I asked for a lady in between. So everybody asked Professor Homogeneous, what's the moral of this story? What Professor says is, when God comes in front of you, don't ask for cheese. Don't ask for a piece of glass. Ask for what? Liberation. Ask for liberation. See, when I went to Swami, I always used to say, he has to come, say, talk to me. And then every day should talk to me. I should sit and eat with him. I should ride in his car. He should give me things. That's what I was thinking all along. That's all I was thinking. And he did all of that. Seriously, he did all of that to me. Every time I would come, he would say, how are you doing? Swami has 2 ways of greeting people. And if you ever noticed or not, majority of us, people like us, he always says, when did you come? How long are you going to stay? But there's a few other people, the minute he sees them, he says, when are you leaving? So it's a lucky thing that, I'm sorry, I thought I shut it off. Sorry. He always says, when did you come? One time, I'm just getting there, I want to finish. One time, I was leaving Los Angeles to go see Swami. And there's a very big time doctor. He called me and said, Doctor, I heard you're going to Puttaparthi. I said, yes. He says, my mom is very sick in Bangalore. She needs a bypass operation. Could you please do that and then go to Swami? I said, no, I'm going to Swami. That's the way I do. He's a very rich guy. He can bring anybody he wants to come and do the operation. I don't have to specially do that. But he said, listen, my mom is a widow for the last 40 years. And all she does is takes care of a handicapped women's place. And that's what she wants to go back and take care of that place for the handicapped women. So once he said that, there's nothing I could do. I said, yes, I would operate on her, no question. So those days you have to fly to Chennai, then go to Bangalore, and then go. So the whole team went, but I ended up going to Bangalore Sunday, does the surgery, Swami's grace, went very well. And I was going to leave that evening, and they said, sir, why you want to go in the evening? We'll put you in a car at 3:30 in the morning, you'll be there at 6:30 and just enough time for darshan. I said, oh, that's a good idea. I can also look at the patient once more. So I left at 3:30. Swami's grace patient did very well. I was there at 6:30, and as usual, I was in the front line sitting there. And I'm sitting waiting for Swami to come and say hello to me. But he just passed away. Right like that. Totally did. And he did the same thing on Tuesday morning also. So then come Wednesday, I said, no, I'm not going to let Swami go by. You'll see what happens. How dare he just not even say hello to this big-time cardiac surgeon from California. So as Swami is coming, I try to just kind of get up. And he comes and very sternly says, you want to leave? The gate is there. I said, Swami, I came 3 days, I didn't even finish the sentence. You know what Swami said? I wouldn't believe either. He said, no, you came only 2 days ago. Yes, your whole team came 3 days ago, which is 100% true. See, the team came 3 days ago, and I came 2 days ago. And when I said I came 3 days ago, immediately he stopped. So, that's divinity. Nothing is the computer brain. Everything is there in its order. And so I felt very embarrassed. So then he walks about 10 feet, turns around so everybody can hear. And he clearly says, Choudhary, come 2 weeks, you're going to leave me, but I will never leave you. You see, what I'm trying to tell you here is, he could have said that to me right there. He could have said there, right to me there. He walks 10 feet, then turns around and tells me. See, it's the same story goes around, Jivatma and Paramatma. It's just not for me, it's for all of us. It's for all of us. For all of us. All we have to do is ask. He always says, you don't ask me enough. So the other day, they called me from where else, Parthi, and says, sir, we want to find out from people like you, how do you connect up with Swami? What a stupid question. What a stupid question. You have to disconnect before you connect, You stay connected. That's the whole idea. You stay connected with Swami. He's there. He's your second nature. When they say, oh my goodness, you're going alone, I said, no, Swami is with me. Swami is with me. So you have to get disconnected before you think of getting connected. But if you're always connected, where is the question of Connecting up. See, this is what that is. That's why Swami always says one of his favorite things is, I'm looking still for an ideal devotee. It's true. Still looking for an ideal devotee. Still looking for an ideal devotee. So, we are. And then somebody suddenly blurts up and says, oh, when Swami was here. I told them, what are you talking about? Nonsense. What do you mean, when Swami was here? He's here. He's here. No question about it, he's here. I'm going to stop with just one thing that will make that point very clear. When we started going to Swami, they would push me and say, go ask Swami when he's coming to America. Like an idiot, I went and said, Swami, when are you coming to America? And he said, the ants will always come to the sugar. Sugar is never going to go to the ants. Couple of years go by. No, that was not an answer we could answer. You go again, ask Swami when he's coming to America. So like an idiot again, I say, Swami, when are you coming to America? Swami looks at me and says, you don't need me. You have $50 gurus and you have $100 gurus there. I'll tell you, just 2 weeks before I was going, we have a beautiful Balaji temple in Los Angeles. They were doing a yagnam, and I'm always interested in these rituals because I think the vibrations are good for us. So I go there, and I was one of the few people who was instrumental in getting it there. A lot of us did work well. The first thing the guy says, sir, you have to give us a check for $52. Oh God, okay, I'll give you $52. And then I go up where the homam is there. And that guru is so particular that the perimeter of the homam, only yajamans, he calls this $52 guys as yajamans, only they can sit there, everybody else has to sit far away. So I told him, what kind of a guru is this person? So when I go there and Swami says, what do you need me there for? You have $50 gurus and $100 gurus. So I told all of us, hey, listen, we have the Sat Guru with us. We're not going to fool around with all these $50 gurus anymore. So then again, a couple of years go by and they said, no. Go ask Swami. He's not giving us good answer. So I again said, Swami, when are you coming to America? Immediately Swami looks and says, what are you talking about? I'm already there. I'm already there. So this I didn't understand. I'm already there. The other two I could understand. 2 days go by. When we are in the veranda, we always give things. Prasadam gets distributed all over. But so that day, they gave us all a photograph of Swami. We were all sitting there with the photographs in our hands. And Swami comes out. We're all sheep, whether we are sitting in the veranda or sitting outside, we're all sheep, the same sheep mentality. So the first few people got up, then everybody else got up, and everybody's hand was going above the other guy's hand. And I was no different. My hand was also going up. Unfortunately, Swami's case, I'm a little tall. So Swami looks at me and says, Choudhary, you have 2 photographs of mine in every room in your house. You want me to sign this? No, we all have pictures of Swami. Swami devotees have pictures of Swami. But not like me. Yes, to the utter discontent of my children, I took their pictures and put Swami's pictures. Even in the living room where their pictures was there, I took them down. So every room. So when my wife wanted an estimate, this painter comes and looks all around the house, and while he's trying to go out, again he sees one more picture. He says, who is this guy you have all over the house? Is he your husband or somebody? So when Swami says, you have my pictures, all over, See again, if I asked him first time, I said, Swami, when are you coming to America? If he said, I'm already there, this, big time Kaddic session from California, but I've never stuck. But the way he takes you in steps and steps. So about 15 years go by since I started going to Swami. So there were 5 of us in the interview room. The couple from New Jersey, a couple from Leicester, and I was there. So as usual, Swami blesses. So he blessed them and says, be happy. And then he goes to the couple from Leicester and says, be happy. Then he comes to me, puts the hand on my head and says, be peaceful. Jai Sai Ram.